spell it?
It's on the list, papelli, renal papelli.
That's this area right
It's on
here.
the list in your Montgomery guide.
That area right here is the renal papilla.
Your number 11 or whatever that number is.
Right where they always are.
Yeah. Papelli, P-A-P-A-L-I-A-E or something like that.
Something like that.
It's in your lab.
Yeah, it's on your list. You have a short list.
It's in there and I need it.
And it's number 11 on this.
What is it again?
Renal papelli.
No, like.
Oh, it's the tip. It's the tip of the pyramid. That's the portion that sits in the cups. These cups here, and you can see cut away. There's a little cup that kind of meets up with the tip. These cups, and if you look down in there, you see little holes. And so when the urine drains down, it goes down through these tiny holes, and then through this funnel area, and into the ureter. These cups are called calyx, or calyces. Calyx is singular, calyces are plural. C-A-Y-L-X is calyx, C-A-Y-L-C-E-S, calyces.
They don't have to determine major from minor? Just
No, not for exam purposes, but again, so when they read the textbook, they know what they're looking at. You have major and minor calyces. The major ones, if you imagine this like a stem of flowers, the major one is the stem area. The minor ones is the part that are directly in touch with the petals. So this area here is the minor, this is a minor, and this is a minor. So there's 3 minors for this major here. This is a minor because it's touching the pyramid, so is this, so is this. So the major would be this area right here. Again, for my purposes, calyx is fine.
And it's actually called urine at that point?
Yes, by the time it comes out, it's urine, yes. It's on its way out.
Okay.
As soon as it goes into the collecting duct is the last time any regulation is going to happen.
Okay.
So after that, it's out. All right, so we have an idea of the big view. So let's go a little deeper now. Oh, I wanted to say something about the blood vessels. So if you notice whether this one, yeah, I can do it. Notice the renal artery comes in, and after it comes in and you can't see it anymore, it starts to branch. First time it branches, we have what's called the renal portal system. And it's a portal system because you have 2 sets of capillary beds that the blood passes through. The first one is in the glomerulus, so that's this one. And the second one, they tried to show over here, the peritubular capillaries. So when the blood leaves the glomerulus on its way out, it goes through another capillary bed called the peritubular capillaries. Yes, those ones there. Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah.
Right.
Right there and that one right there.
Yeah. So the peritubular capillaries is the second capillary bed. So that makes it, makes it a portal system. The other thing about it is, just like when we were doing hepatic portal, you remember you go in with a vein, you go to the liver, and then you come out of the liver with another vein before you hit the inferior vena cava. Well, with the renal portal, you go in with with an artery, you go into the glomerulus with an artery, you leave the glomerulus with another artery before you go to the second capillary before you even get to a vein.
Are you talking about the afferent and the efferent?
Yes, you go in with the afferent and you get out with the efferent, but when you get out with the efferent, you then have to go to the next capillary bed. And then
the peritubular.
the peritubular, and then you pick up the vein from there. So what that means then is, if you look here, and I'm not going to ask you the vessels here, but again in the lecture, when you look at it, so you have an idea in your head what they're talking about. There's a renal artery, and when it branches, you have the segmental artery, and then it branches again. So this time when it branches again, it's the lobar, and then when it branches again, which are these ones here around the pyramid, that's the arcuate, and then from the arcuate you have these ones. Those are the interlobular, and the interlobular are the ones that give rise to the glomerulus. So this one here, this big one here is the interlobular, and coming off it, you have the glomerulus. So again, when you see that in your text, and they will show you the list that's what they're talking about. Here it is a little bigger. There's an interlobular, and you can see a branch. The branch going into the glomerulus would be the afferent. The branch coming out of the glomerulus is the efferent. And when it comes out, you see, if you look at it over here, it comes out and it meets with the vein. This is the peritubular capillary right here. And they try to show some of it down here. So that's the perspective I wanted to get. Oh my. All right, now let's do the parts of the nephron.
So inside,
Let me see.
I may be jumping ahead.
Inside of what?
Well, it's just that, you know, the renal capsule, and then on the nephron, you see it, some of it open, and then you can see the Bowman's capsule.
Oh, renal corpus, you mean?
Yeah, the renal corpuscle, yeah.
Yeah. Right, so now we're going to do our little paper. So let's start with what they have here. Number one, this white thing, that's called a renal corpuscle, and that's what Penny is talking about. Student tends to mix it up with renal capsule because the terms so close. But a corpuscle is actually made up of two structures, the Bowman's capsule and the glomerulus. So the glomerulus sits in the Bowman's capsule, and together, collectively, it's known as the renal corpuscle. So here, what they did is cut it so you could see what's in there. So by itself, enclosed, it's the renal corpuscle. Once it cuts open, you can tag the glomerulus and you can tag the Bowman's capsule, which is the white part around it. Okay? Now, this is important because that's the entire filtration apparatus mechanism. There's 3 layers of filter. 3 layers of filter in there. And that's what one of them is the, well, it's all about the glomerulus. The glomerulus have these fenestrations or holes that are large enough to allow certain things through, but small so that proteins, red blood cells, and like white blood cells and those things are caught. They're not allowed through. Everything else gets filtered. I mean everything gets filtered, and of course it drains into the Bowman's capsule. So the Bowman's capsule collects it, and then it drains into the nearby tube. And that's your green one, or your light green one. That's your proximal convoluted tube. And that area of the tube is specialized for what we call reabsorption. So it's going to send back most of the stuff that got filtered. Now, in addition to having those fenestrations, the next layer are these cells, these special cells called podocytes. See them?
You can see them better on the...
You see those white, can you turn that around? Those white cells, they're not only right there, they're all over. They just do that for diagrammatic purposes. And notice they have these extensions. The extensions are called pedicles. So they are described as podocytes with pedicles. Podocytes mean cells with legs. The pedicles are intertwined to form what we call the filtration slit. And it's like a sieve. So that's the next layer of filtering. So if the stuff passes through the fenestration, it has to deal with the filtration slit. And then the third layer is the basement membrane. The charges on the basement membrane. So if what's coming through have the same charge as the basement membrane, they get kicked back. If they have repel, right? If you're the same, you get repel. If they have the same charge, it gets pushed back. If it has different charge, then it gets to pass through. So those are the layering that this stuff has to go through before it hits come out here as the ultrafiltrate. And this one, for going through the numbers with you, this is number 1. Number 2 is the proximal convoluted tubule. Proximal because it's the area closest to the Bowman's capsule. Convoluted because it's invaginated like that. And the invagination is to help with slow it down and to help with the reabsorption that's going to take place. it straightens out and it becomes the descending loop. That's little b. Yeah, I think it's a b. And then it makes a hairpin turn. That's number 3. That's the loop of Henle, or the nephron loop. And then it climbs. That's little c. That's the ascend, little c and 4. Yeah. That's the ascending loop. And then it invaginates again. That's number 5 and D. That's your, what is this one? No, the distal convoluted. Distal means it's away from the Bowman's capsule. Then it empties into this one, number 6. That's the collecting duct. The collecting duct, of course, again, multiples of them lined up to empty into the corpuscle, the calyx that will be down here. So all of these come together and form the renal papillae. Again, you can see this clear area here is where the papillae is. So that's what you can see on this one. Oh no, you can also see number 11 is the peritubular capillary. Number 9, going into the Bowman's capsule, this is coming off the interlobular. So this is the afferent going in. And number 10 is the afferent coming, the efferent coming out. So you can see some of the vessels on here. They're numbered. So let me tell you what numbers these are. That goes with the ones you have on the blue ones. We're starting with this thing here. So they show you the regions. On the blue one, it's 24 for cortex.